Yes, hello, welcome to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles, everybody. An absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. I'm Chris, this is my channel. Chat me down on Instagram, chat me down on Twitter. But before you do, watch the rest of this video, which is the latest installment of...
Listen to your friend Chris.
...in which I do a rundown of all the adult, man-child, action figure and collectible news that's caught my eye in the week and ask you to listen to me, your friend Chris. Then what I'll do is I'll commentate, I'll give some thoughts, just generally chat about it and invite you to head down to the comments down below so that you can share some thoughts and, well, comment down below. And with all that said and done, we'll have covered off a few bits and bobs here and there that have caught my eye this week. So stick around for 6 seconds. Let's get into it. Alrighty then, thanks for sticking around. So I've got my little whiteboard here on my iPad. I like to gather up a few pictures of some action figure and adult collectible things that have caught my eye through the course of the week and drop them on here so I can do some show and tell while I'm talking about it. And I've got two main things that have caught my eye in this particular week, although one of them's big, so I've broken it down into two subsections, and then a little note at the end about the channel over Christmas. So let's not dilly-dally around, let's get straight into it, and let's talk Marvel Legends. I do a little bit of Marvel Legends collecting on the side here and there. It's not my main line by any stretch of the imagination. The main focus of my collecting is X-Men related figures. So, of course, the announcement they did last week and then the stream and the content they did on the stream has made this 90s X-Men lover eat well, although I've definitely got some thoughts. So earlier on in the week, these pictures dropped here that I've got on the screen right now. It's the second wave of the X-Men 97 figures. I picked up a handful of the first wave of X-Men 97 figures, and I'm a fan of the original animated series. I'm very much looking forward to X-Men 97, and I think they're just on the line enough of cartoony but comic booky that I can get away with a mixed display, because I'm not all that fussed about total comic book accuracy. So I've got stuff, animated stuff and comic book stuff all hanging about on the same shelf. So these are nice. You know, we've got a Cyclops here, then a new Magneto in a uniform that is obviously inspired by that kind of New Mutancy era run, the uniform he was wearing then. The Executioner, which is interesting, kind of a bit of a low-grade, obscure 90s villain. Then Jean Grey, a new Jean Grey for us all to enjoy. A Nightcrawler. There he is, Nightcrawler. And a Goblin Queen, a Madeline Pryor. So a good selection of characters across the wave, a decent mix of villains and heroes. Obviously, giving a few spoilers away as to who some of the antagonists may be in the upcoming X-Men 97 with the Executioner there and the Goblin Queen. This Magneto, I think, I'm sure I've read somewhere, he's moved over to the side of the heroes. He joined the X-Men at the end of the animated series, so this may be a change of uniform to indicate his more, more heroic, good guy persona there. So there's lots to like, but plenty to dislike as well. I must admit, rather irrationally and unreasonably, this Cyclops has made me a little bit salty, because I picked up definitely earlier this year, I'm sure it was this year, the VHS animated series Cyclops, which is this figure, is this book, other than the head sculpt, with the molded on strap down the side there, so it moves with the ab crunch and the belt covering the waist cut and all that kind of stuff. But this one has head swaps, and it's got the energy blast effect. And I said at the time when I reviewed the VHS animated series one, I was gutted that there was no energy effects or additional stuff. And so I'm a bit salty that this one's come along in such a short window of time. But it's a little bit unreasonable because, the rationale there is you can't do an X-Men line based on a new X-Men series that doesn't include a Cyclops, particularly if he's going to be a key figure in the cartoon. I'm just a bit like, you must have known this one was in development when you did the VHS animated series one, and you skanked me on that one, because this retro card one's going to be roughly the same price, probably even less actually, because they were selling the VHS ones as deluxe, weren't they? And this one's got some more sexy, exciting stuff going on in it. So that one's maybe a little bit salty, although I get that. I'm just being a bit grouchy about that. And, you know, you've got to have Cyclops in an X-Men line. He needs to be on the shelf. He's the leader of the X-Men. It's the same with the Jean Grey, actually, a little bit, because they reissued the Love Triangle box set Jean Grey to all intents and purposes in the animated VHS animated series release, and this one just looks a little bit neater and tidier. I think the book looks a little bit better there with the pinless stuff, and I'm like, oh, Hasbro, you know what I mean? Because I was so desperate for a Jean Grey. Lovely head swaps. I think the head swaps look a little bit nicer than the ones that were included with the VHS one, so that's maybe a little bit salty too. But again, you know, she's a key figure of both the classic 93 animated series, so they had to include her in that lineup, and she's obviously going to be a key figure in the new X-Men 97, so they have to include her in that. So I'm just a bit like, ugh, you know what I mean? Just classic, very classic Marvel Legends shenanigans and bollocks. I gotta say, when's Marvel Legends gonna move away from this waste action here? When's that going to stop? Because I think it looks really ugly. I'm just not a big fan of it. I'll revisit that one in a minute when I look at something else. But surely it's about time they moved away from that, isn't it? It just really pecks my head, that. I know it's the kind of standard for the line. I don't think they've got many ball joint wasted characters in Marvel Legends, have they? Someone let me know in the comments down below if there's one that I've missed. Was the anniversary Captain America ball jointed? I can't remember. He's boxed up right now. I'll have to check. But yeah, that's a bit of a bugbear as well with the Marvel Legends. I just feel like they're not quite moving at pace. But of course, I've been spoilt with G.I. Joe Classified and fallen head over heels in love with that line. So that's going to obviously impact on my decision making there. But yeah, it looks okay. It looks like a decent line. I'll probably skip Cyclops and Jean Grey and just carry on using my VHS animated ones for now, even though I think these look a little bit better. Although that Cyclops is tempting with his energy blast. I'm skipping Magneto. No interest in that one. Executioner is a 50-50 right now. I don't know if I do or don't want to pick one up. He's certainly a classic kind of 90s villain, and he's got loads of great kind of interesting accessories with him in added value. He just looks a little bit too cartoony in design to go in in like a display where you might want to see. The thing is, right, so we've had a Chamber and a Monet Saint Croix. So if we get more Gen X characters, then I'd be a little bit more interested in an Executioner. Or a decent, a better Cable. If a better, more readily available Cable came along and get a bit of a Cyclops and a Cable thing, then I could recreate some storylines with the Executioner from some titles that I collected back in the day. You can see my long boxes just over my shoulder there, look. But if they don't, then I'm not, or less inclined to go for one that looks so cartoony. He's just kind of crossed the divide away from comic book a little bit too much. I don't know. So I'm 50-50 on that. Nightcrawler's a definite yes for me. I need a Nightcrawler in the selection, and I'd certainly think we can get away with taking the animated version from this line and get it in with the comic book stuff. I mean, you can only really see the animated-y look in the facial aesthetic, and I'm comfortable with that. And I might get a Goblin Queen. I haven't decided. That's a 50-50er as well. Only because it's not a villain that I'm particularly attached to. I was never a big fan of her storylines, but it would be cool to do some sort of Dark Phoenix, Madeline Grey, Dark Phoenix Rises, and then the Madeline Pryor stuff later on. I'm a bit like that about that. So, yeah, there was this line, and then they revisited this on the stream, which is the next area to talk about, because they did more Marvel Legends reveals later on that week on the stream. And here we go. Here's everything that was revealed on the stream. So we've got the Red Widow figure, which was a fan vote figure from PulseCon, and was out of focus for the entire duration. They had her on screen on the stream as well. I've gone through trying to catch a in focus frame, and it's obviously got Dwight there in the background in focus. So I'm so not interested in this figure at all. The Marvel cosmic-y stuff is not a space. See what I did there? It's not an area of Marvel comic book lore that I'm particularly into or massively familiar with. I've read a few bits here and there where it's kind of big, you know, crossovery type stuff, but not a massive amount of stuff. So I don't know a great deal about the Red Widow. So there was the Red Widow. Then they showed us a few single figure releases, like this Hydra Captain America from the infamous storyline, where there was some Cosmic QB timeliney shenanigans that meant that Captain America was a Hydra spy all along. Look, a great figure if you're collecting Captain America comic book lore figures, then this is a good one for you. It's a pass for me, but it looks solid enough. And then not you yet. And then the Falcap there, the Falcon. Captain America Falcon comic book version, not the MCU version. There was some great stuff they were showing off actually on the stream. Go and have a look on the Hasbro Pulse channel and watch it, because the wing stuff that they were showing off looked really great and interesting. And again, it's a really solid, good-looking figure, extremely well sculpted. I'm always happier when Marvel Legends has got a bit of textured detail in there. And some fabric detail and giving it some layers and depth, which this one has. And that Hydra Captain America, to be fair, you can see it's got some textural details in there, which I think is always great to see. Marvel Legends sometimes just looks a bit too shiny, a bit too sheer, a bit too plasticky. I know the characters in Lycra, but like the things like sculpted boots should appear much more frequently, in my opinion, than just kind of painted on boots and stuff. So there we go. So they showed us that. They also revealed the Angel figure, which is definitely going to be a pre-order for me to fill out that kind of comic book X-Men lineup that I've got going on. So I'll be picking up this guy. Again, the wing stuff they were talking about sounds amazing. Look at the textural detail on the wings there. Looks really awesome. Very impressed with that. Although he is, painted on boots, painted on gloves, looking a bit shiny, demonstrating that exact problem that I was just talking about a moment ago. But he looks great, although, again, that really ugly waistcoat needs to go. It really disrupts my ability to enjoy the posing of the figures, because I'm then less inclined, I'm resistant to sort of turny type poses and things that use the waist, because it sort of, I don't know, I just don't like the way it looks. It looks very uncomfortable and imbalanced and uneven and not very symmetrical, and it annoys me. Whereas with the ball joint on the G.I. Joes, let me grab Ripper here, the ball joint on the G.I. Joes, it looks neater, it kind of sits on the trouser line better. I don't know, I just feel like the aesthetic of that is a lot better than the aesthetic of that, down there. But I'll be picking him up, and it fills me with hope of an Archangel version of the character coming soon, if they're playing around with wings, in their design and sculpting department. So that fills me with a bit of confidence that we'll see that version of the character as well, which I'll be very excited to see. So that was all good. And then it was the Wolverine 50th anniversary stuff. So did I get them all? I think I got them all. Yeah, I did. So we had I can't remember if this was the order they revealed him in on the stream, but we had the Battle Armor Psylocke with a sort of ninja look Wolverine. This is, of course, the Lady Mandarin kind of battle armor look of Psylocke, which, it looks great, from that moment when she was captured by the Hand and brainwashed to be an assassin for the Mandarin. It's a bit of a shame that they've gone for a yellow energy effect, when everybody knows, certainly anybody who's a fan of the comic books knows, that Psylocke's psychic weaponry is kind of pinky purple. Also, there's just this like weird glowing energy thing, when traditionally she gets like these kind of dagger shapes, these psychic dagger shapes that she uses to attack. It's a double pack too. I'll circle back round to the double pack, because I've got thoughts on that as well. There was the Lilandra Brood double pack there as well, the Brood Wolverine. Lilandra, great, a very popular kind of cosmic character, sometimes a protagonist, sometimes an antagonist in the X-Men storylines, once married to Professor X, heavily involved in big kind of Chris Claremont era storylines and stuff. So great to see the character in the line with a Shi'ar kind of regal staff type thing and some nice sculpting in there. That's not a great picture I've picked up there. It's a bit blurry, isn't it? With the Brood Wolverine. Very disappointed in the Brood Wolverine. And I know, it's well sculpted and everything, but I'm just like, seriously, who Was there anyone out there really begging for that? And particularly begging for that in a 2-pack with a Lilandra? But again, I'll circle back round to the double pack thing. Then it was the Patch and Joe Fix-It figures there, another double pack in the style and design of the famous Wolverine issue 8 cover in the white jacketed tuxedos there. This double pack makes a lot of sense for fans of Wolverine. It's got that little bit of flair based on a very famous cover. Makes sense. I'm probably going to skip it because I can't see it having a place in the type of X-Men related display that I want to have up there. But I can see that one making sense and being very popular with a number of folks out and about there. And then finally, the big news that I think got a lot of people excited, including myself, was the Sabretooth and kind of Canadian cowboy look Wolverine there. Now, I wanted a Sabretooth in this kind of classic 90s look design for quite a while. I put him on a wish list video that I did 2 years ago now, maybe. So very excited to see that Sabretooth in the line. Very excited also to see those head sculpts. I think they're really a lot of character, a lot of personality. Sometimes Marvel Legends can be a bit vanilla in the head sculpts, and these are just very good. Sabretooth style growls and scowls, and very aggressive in nature and tone, as well as a couple of hand swaps. So all on board with that, with the sculpted kind of furry collar thing that is synonymous with the character's visual identity there. So very, very pleased. I could take or leave the Wolverine that's coming with it, if I'm being perfectly honest. That's going to be some kit bash fodder or very infrequently used, which brings me to the point about the double packs, because I do definitely feel like Marvel Legends are shanghaiing us a little bit, being a bit shanghaied, a bit taken hostage against my will with the double pack setup of the Wolverine 50th anniversary reveals in particular, because they've very tactically placed less popular, less wanted characters with ones that you might want to buy as a single pack. So I would have perhaps considered a Lady Mandarin Psylocke character if it wasn't in a double pack with a Wolverine I've got no need nor want or desire for. I might have considered a Lilandra, but I've got no interest in a Brood Wolverine. In fact, that's the one that pains me the most. I'm moving my little background there. Sabretooth, very excited to see Sabretooth, but no interest in that Wolverine at all. I don't want a non-superhero uniformed Wolverine whatsoever. Got no interest in that. In fact, the only one that really makes sense is this one, because it's got a bit of a theme and a kind of a special interest angle to it. So strategically, they're trying to sell me more figures and make me spend more. But actually, I feel like it's had the opposite effect, because now, when it comes down to pre-ordering, the only one I've pre-ordered is the one with Sabretooth in it. And even then, I was a bit tentative and uncertain with myself, because I was like, that Sabretooth's going to turn up on a retro card back in 12 months' time anyway. So I was still a bit tentative about it, but I get FOMO real bad and I want stuff to review on the channel. But I've not bought this one, where I probably would have bought a Lilandra on her own, and I probably would have bought a Lady Mandarin on her own. But now they're in double packs, I'm not buying either. So rather than making the extra 50 quid out of me they were aiming to try and make out of me, they've made no money out of me on those two characters, if that makes sense. Yeah, if anyone out there is able to explain, or better explain to me, the rationale for the double pack kind of strategy, particularly with Marvel Legends, they seem to do it an awful lot, double packs and triple packs, and even 5 or 6 packs with Marvel Legends, then I'd be interested to know, because it does. The only reason I can imagine is that it's about inflating sales, inflating profits. But I don't think it's working, because I'm now going to buy one double pack with a figure in it I didn't really want in the first place, rather than buying 3 individual figures that have caught my eye. So they're making 50 quid out of me rather than 75. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm a businessman. Do you know what I mean? I don't get it. So it kind of makes very, very little sense to me. But All that aside, it was a solid week for Marvel Legends fans, and a particularly solid week for fans of X-Men. No two ways about it. And that wasn't all either. There was some other stuff where there was a re-release of the MCU Iron Man, a re-release of the MCU Spider-Man, which makes sense, and they explained it on the stream. It's all about just keeping those A-list popular characters on the shelves for people coming along new to the line or who missed them the first time around. And I've not even talked about them at all because I don't look at MCU figures one bit. But yeah, Marvel Legends, particularly for X-Men fans, it was a good week of eating for us. Just a shame they had to kind of pull this weird double pack shenanigans on us. I just don't get it. All right, last one on the agenda then, folks. These figures here called Mortal Ruin. First time I've encountered them. There was the Designer Con going on last week or last weekend at some point, and these started floating around here, there, and everywhere. And then I went to check out their Instagram page, and they had pics of their own up on there. And this seems to be some kind of like a dystopian future military figure kind of line. I'm taking more of an active interest in the more boutique, smaller action figure creators of late, and these just really caught my eye. I mean, look at these here. Let's make that guy super big. Look at this. Look at that. Amazing. So really interesting, kind of dark, future militaristic style characters there. I feel like they've got a bit of a sort of anime, like a manga-y sort of dystopian, like fascist government soldier kind of vibe. The weaponry looks interesting. In fact, the sculpting and the detail is really incredible. If we take a look at this guy here, so he's got the gas mask, got the helmet, looks like a very solid figure. But if we go down here, look at the paint application on the boots and the knee pads. If the figure's coming out of the packet looking like that, that'll be stunning. Very impressive there. Very impressive indeed to get that layer of detail, although I dread to imagine what the price could possibly be if that's the level of detail that's going in there. But then also, if you look at the head sculpts on the guys that were on display, look at the head sculpt on this dude. Come on, there we go. Look at the head sculpt on this guy there. Look at that. Incredible. Incredible detail, incredible looking figures, very, very eye-catching, loaded up with all that you would expect from a military style figure nowadays. Butterfly joints, double elbows, double knees, pinless, great looking head sculpts, lots of, the sculpted detail in the equipment and the gear and the tactical vests and all that kind of stuff. So definitely hitting all the kind of points that you would want from a military baseline. Look at this guy, all in black. Looks badass, doesn't he? Look at him. Steely-eyed gaze. The head sculpt looks... just look at that. Great, isn't it? So really impressed with what I'm seeing there. This one caught my eye. It was unpainted, but look at the helmet on this dude. That's some intimidating shit there. I would definitely like to get this guy on a shelf next to Shadow Tracker and do a bit of a comparison as to who's the most menacing and intimidating looking figure, because he looks like, satanic. I've not done much reading up on the lore, actually, although there is a strong lore kind of thing going... I'll come back to that one. I've not got the picture here, but there is like a strong lore thing going on. And some of the Instagram posts had little write-ups explaining, and I didn't really absorb it or take it in because I'm just turned on by the plastic, you know what I mean? I was going to point out this guy at the back here as well. Look at that. Look at the head sculpt on that with the mask and this crazy kind of laser shotgun thing that he's holding. They got them in this like sort of... battle destroyed, war-torn kind of diorama scene there. Look at him in the background there with the helmet and the gas mask. Just these really intimidating sort of faceless dark dystopian future kind of stuff that I think looks really, really awesome. So I'll be keeping an eye on this Mortal Ruin stuff for sure, because it looks really interesting, really fascinating, and it looks like it's got most of the kind of key bits and bobs that you would be looking for from a military line. 1/12 scale, I think I read somewhere in one of their descriptions, just over 6 inches, there or thereabouts. No word on price, no word on release date to my knowledge, but if you know better than me, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, it was just really super eye-catching, and I thought, yeah, I'll mention that one in me listen to your friend Chris update. And there we are then, folks. That brings me to the end of all the things that have caught my eye in the kind of action figure and adult collectible world this week. A quieter week, but not a quieter week, and looking at the length of the recording, I've managed to fill the airwaves, but all that remains to say, really, is that I hope everybody has a tremendous holiday season, a lovely festive break, and brings in the new year with plenty of cheer. I'm going to be taking a week off, so there'll be no updates, well, 2 weeks off, no updates next week and no updates the week after. I'll be kind of coming back in into normal rotation in the second week of January. I'm going to have some time off with my kids while they're off school and have plenty of family time. And as I joked earlier on the Discord, it's red wine, cheese and marzipan for me now in large quantities over the next 2 weeks. So yeah, just an absolute, very Merry Christmas, or whatever holiday you're celebrating right now. Even if it's just a bit of a break, then I wish you all the best, and thank you so very much for your support of the channel over this last 12 months. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm hoping to continue that journey into 2024. So yeah, that's it. Oh, and my Santa arrived just in time. Look at that. I was bitching about that last week, wasn't I, about whether it was going to arrive in time? And there he is. So keep your eye on that. There will be some videos posted. I've pre-recorded some shorts, and I've got a couple of reviews that I'm going to try and work on and finish this week so I can get them rolled out. I'll upload them and then set them on a schedule to drop at various intervals through the time off. But for now, take it easy. Have a wonderful break, everybody, and I'll see you in 2024. All right, see you later.